So today I'm dedicating this video to how to install your MaXpeedingRod coilovers onto a Honda Civic. The method works the same for most vehicles, but from 1988 all the way to 2000, this method is pretty much identical. So I'm going to show you how to do that with these MaXpeedingRod coilovers. These MaXpeedingRod coilovers do have the adjustable damper, and if yours does not, this method still works the exact same way. So basically you're going to need a 17 wrench, a 17mm socket with ratchet. You'll need a 14mm wrench and ratchet, and possibly penetrant of some sort, a hammer, and a lot of patience. But we're gonna go ahead and get started jacking the car up. Okay, so when it comes to jacking your car up, there are multiple spots you could choose to jack it up from. Definitely don't do it right here. You want to go back to the pinch weld, make sure you're on it really secure, and then you'll want to secure a jack stand underneath after you jack it up. So before we do that, if you're not using an impact gun, it's best to break the lug nuts loose. Don't take them off, just break them loose to where they're looser before jacking it up. It makes it a lot easier to get the wheel off after it's in the air. So I'm going to go ahead, jack it up, place a jack stand, and get this wheel off. Alright, now that we've got the front shock and coilover off, we're going to adjust this new MaXpeedingRod to right around the same level, so that way it's about the same ride height. Now these do have a stiffer spring. This is a thicker spring than this one, so this one here should ride a lot better because this is at its loosest setting. This should have rode a lot better than it did. But when I very first got the car, this was at a stiffer spring rate. They had actually tightened it up, so it was super bouncy. It's actually rode a lot better with it like this. But on this one here, we're going to basically match this part up to this part, and then this part will be level as well. Then we have to take the fork off, which is just a 14mm bolt. Put these metal collars right here and put them in and reinstall it back in the car. So I'm going to do that. We don't actually need that collar for these ones. Some models require it, some do not. Okay, it's all back together. Everything's looking good. Made sure to double check and make sure everything's tight and everything's looking great. On these, I did end up using the bolts provided due to the fact that my spike ones aren't that deep inside. So I'll probably end up putting these spike ones on another location in the bay. And wanted to make sure if you have adjustable damper that it's all the way loosened for the best possible ride. And then if you want to stiffen it up, you can just do a click at a time. But I'm going to have it all the way left. I'm going to go ahead and put this wheel on, do that back one, and we can finish this video up. So on the back side of this, there is nothing there for the bolt to bite into. So I'm taking one of my other nuts that fit on that bolt and just threading it on. Alright, there it is. Got it put back together. I did the passenger side as well, and I was able to put the spikes on there. After all, I just had to put the other bolts down and then put them on top. Now it is super bouncy, super soft, which will make it ride like factory. Now we can stiffen that up by either the spring load, which you have to jack the car up to do, or we have the adjustable damper. So I do have the damper set at 1 click and it's still that soft. So if I stiffen it all the way up, this thing should ride really good still. But the spring load definitely makes a huge difference. So the more that spring's tightened up, the more stiff it's going to ride, but it will also handle better. So you got to find your happy spot with it. But yeah, it's a pretty simple little process to install them. The only issue you can really run into is those back ones. Those back bolts always break off, but luckily these have been removed. But if you do come across those, don't give up. You can do it. I know you can.